We just came out of non-public, and so we want to make a motion to seal the minutes.
I move that the board just came out of a non-public session under RSA 91A3 to A, B, C, and D, and I would move to seal those minutes.
Recording in progress.
Save for the information, compensation information the bookkeeper needs until such time as the majority of the board feels the circumstances no longer apply.
Second.
Second by Charlie. Any discussion? Edvin?
Aye.
Matt?
Aye.
Charlie?
Aye.
I'm an aye. Katie, you on? Okay. Okay, so now we're going to open the public meeting for February 2nd, 2022 at 7 p.m. And we're going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Scheduled business. We did the seal. So we're going to start with B, safety complex water quality issues.
Yeah, Robin is on. Robin, you want to go ahead?
And he's from Advanced Radon?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Hi, Diane and Selectmen. My name is Robin Gelinas with Advanced Radon Mitigation and Water Treatment. And I was called to quote a water treatment system for both the police department and the fire department. Both have a little different issues with them. It's the same well, but their needs are a little different. The fire department is going to use far more water than the police department will in washing their rigs and apparatus, and plus showers and whatnot over there. I'm sure they do a lot more. Being that the places that they probably have more showers and things like that at the fire station than they do at the police station. Not sure, but. Given the water quality there, each place has a couple of different, needs a couple of different systems. The complaints there are obviously the hard water that's leaving water spots and everything all over the place, not to mention the iron and the manganese. There are systems there, but they're old and they're dramatically undersized for what they need to do. Also, I understand that there is a slight arsenic issue there that we will probably end up taking care of, I guess, later on with probably just for drinking water. There's also a hydrogen sulfide gas issue there. Basically, it's a rotten egg smell in the water that nobody can deal with there. It makes it very difficult to use the water, and it also tends to be corrosive. H2S is corrosive gas. So there are two systems. I'll start with the police department. We'd be removing the existing system there. That is an old, is that the fire? No, it's the fire. Hold on. I believe the police department has an old single water treatment, water softener there that would be removed and replaced. Yeah, it's got an old Echo Water, very small 9x48 system. No pre-filter or anything, but we'd be removing that and putting in a backwashing filter. What it is an oxidizing backwashing filter, primarily using air to oxidize the hydrogen sulfide gas smell, and also oxidize any residual iron. There's 1.16 parts of iron in the water, and so the air would actually oxidize that and turn that into particulate iron and backwash that away. So there'd be no cartridge filter to change or anything like that. It would do it automatically. That will not, though, reduce the hardness in the water, so it would have to be followed up with a water softener that would take out any of the remaining soluble metals in the water, such as manganese and the hardness. There's 245 parts of hardness in the water. That's basically made up of calcium and magnesium in the water. That causes the white chalky stains, that you'd get if you like boil down a pot of water, or water spots on, that actually, from my recollection, they're causing a lot of spotting and stuff on the water appliances there, including, I guess there's a bubbler there that they cannot get the spots off of. So it looks like it's starting to really harden on there and corrode it. So those are the two items that I'd be putting in the police station. They're sized appropriately. The softener is 1.5 cubes or 1.5 cubic feet. It's a 45,000 grain capacity softener with a metered valve that would go off. It would regenerate based on the amount of water that's being used, not on a regular timered basis, where it's set for a Monday, Wednesday, Friday regeneration. Those type of water softeners waste water and salt through overuse. So this would regenerate based on the amount of water that the police station uses. The backwashing filter would be on a timered basis, probably backwashing twice a week. But that would be it. Are there any questions on the police station treatment?
Nope.
No?
No.
Okay, all right. Do you want me to get into the cost of each, or do you have that in front of you?
They have that in front of them.
Okay, very good. All right, so we would be removing the old systems and replumbing the new systems in, trying to maximize room, because it's a very, very small utility room in the police station. So we try to maximize the room there so that we could fit everything in there and maintain its serviceability. All right. Now, if there are no questions on the police station, I will move on to the fire station. And the fire station is going to require a little bit more. It's my understanding that there is not a whole lot of water pressure or volume at the fire station. Both buildings are fed by the same well, and it comes out of the well underground and tees off, and one part goes to the police station, the other part goes to the fire station. And for whatever reason, they're not getting a lot of volume or pressure at the fire station, to the point where they cannot wash the apparatus properly using that water. I was told that they actually had to use a fire truck to wash another fire truck, which seems kind of silly to me. But so my answer to that would be to install what's called a booster pump, and that would take the water from the well and boost it to upwards of about 68, 69 psi. So they'll have plenty of water pressure and volume to wash the apparatus and anything else they needed to do. And that would turn on only when necessary, when they use the water. It's made by DAB, and it's a small. It's called an EC Box Mini 3, and it's very small, and sometimes they'll put it underneath even a kitchen sink, so it'll fit very conveniently in the utility room of the fire department, which is much larger than the police department. So there's plenty of room in there. So that would then be followed up with, very similar to the police department, there would be the oxidizing backwashing filter that would get rid of that hydrogen sulfide gas smell. it would be upsized to a 2-cube system, because we're going to be looking for a larger volume of water to go through that in comparison to the police station, because they're going to use a lot more water. So it's a 12 by 52 tank as opposed to a 10 by 54. And then followed up with a twin tank water softener. One of the issues that I understand is that the fire department is going to be dealing with is they wash their apparatus at all different times of the day and the evening and night, depending on when they have the free time to do so. And so a water softener typically will regenerate and clean itself at about 2 o'clock in the morning, as programmed by the manufacturer of the valve. A twin tank softener will ensure that there's enough volume of water to go through at any given time, but also a twin tank softener will, while one tank is cleaning itself, the other one will still offer processed water, softened water, so they can use it while the other one is cleaning itself. So there won't be any downtime as far as the softener is concerned, because if it was 2 in the morning and it was and the softener needed to regen and they decided to wash the trucks at that point, then they wouldn't have treated water. So that's the reason for the twin tank 2-cube softener. That's about it. I'm not sure if you have any questions regarding those systems.
Yeah, I got one.
Okay.
This is Selectman Melvin. Do you know what size motor is in the well pump? I mean,
Let me see.
is it, because it was probably a single family home at the
Yeah.
time before, which would mean it would only need about a 1/2 horse motor. I put a 3/4 horse in my house when I drilled my well, and I can blow water across the street. And if you've got
Well,
if you've got a 1/2 horse motor, and you're going to be pushing over 200 feet to that fire station, you're going to get lousy pressure.
Correct. The system that they have in the police department, that is where everything is coming into, okay, primarily. So basically, everything comes into the police department, and then the police department, the pressure created at the police department is then sent to the fire station, and it's a constant pressure pump system. Okay, so there's no, like you probably have a pressure tank in your home,
Yes?
where it comes from the well, goes into the pressure tank, and then goes into your home.
Yes, I do.
This does not have a pressure tank like that. It's a constant pressure system, whereas when water is needed by either building, the well pump will turn on, and typically they will spin and deliver the water only that is asked for. So consequently, if somebody in the fire station is asking for 2 gallons a minute from a sink, the water, the pump will only run to deliver 2 gallons a minute. Okay, so it's not the best setup. They probably should have each their own well pressure tank or anything, but the system it would cost a lot more to modify that well system. So the best thing to do, in my opinion, is to take the water that the well and the police station is sending to the fire department, and then take it and boost it so that the pressure is dramatically increased, so that they can do what they want to do there. It's a lot less expensive to do it that way.
So what you're saying is put a tank in the police station.
No, it's not actually a tank.
It's a booster.
It's a booster pump.
Right.
It's probably, it's.
Yeah, but can you regulate it? That's
Oh,
what
absolutely.
That's where I was going. Can you
Oh,
regulate
yes,
it?
absolutely. You can regulate the pressure very easily. It's got a digital display in the front, and you can regulate the pressure with it very easily. It looks like an old 1980s computer CPU, okay? That you'd have it sitting on the floor under your desk, and that's where you'd put your floppy disks and all that stuff in. That's what it resembles. Okay, I see Tricia nodding there. But yeah, so that's similar. That's what it kind of resembles, but it's gotten excellent reviews. I researched this pump over and over and over again, and that's it. After looking at many of them, it's what I would put in my own home if I needed one.
But you're saying put that in the fire station.
Correct.
So if you have it in the fire station, it's going to be sucking off that line, correct?
Yes. Yes.
Where the two feeds come out, because they're separate. So if it's sucking off of that line, it's going to take away from the police station.
No, it won't. There's a check valve. There's a check valve there as it comes out of the well. There's a check valve that's there to prevent water from under pressure from making its way back into the well. Okay,
Right.
So it comes out of the well, goes through the check valve, and then it tees off, and it goes to whoever's asking for it. Okay, so the pump in the well will spin and deliver. It could deliver, I think it's rated for 10 or 15 gallons a minute. All right, so let me just look at that and make sure, based on my notes here. Let me see. Yeah, it's a 10-gallon a minute pump. All right, and with an estimated usage, this was written on the constant pressure pump system itself at a 1,500 gallon per day estimated usage. But it is a 10-gallon a minute pump, so there should be plenty of water to share between the police station and the fire station. They're not going to be asking for 10 gallons a minute each. That's a huge amount of water.
So just to clarify, let's say the fire station is cleaning the trucks or something. What you're saying, meanwhile, at the police station, they turn on their faucet. They're not going to notice a drop in pressure.
They should not.
Okay.
The well is going to deliver the volume of water. Okay. The need for the booster pump is because, in my estimation, is because of the distance from the police station to the fire station, and the resistance there. So that's the reason for the booster, to basically take the water that's coming in under a very light pressure and boost it so that they can use it at the fire station.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah.
Any more questions from the board?
Well, what is the shelf life in a sense? Like, so the systems you're putting in, and I know you guesstimate it, but I guess what's the warranty and how long are they expected to last?
Well, the systems themselves come with their parts warranty. Let's say there's a 5-year warranty on the valve itself, on the clack. It's a clack valve. There are two 800-pound gorillas in the water treatment industry for valves. One is Fleck, one is clack. Clack is easier to work on. The parts, I think, are just as easily accessible, and Fleck, they are not proprietary. So basically anybody that knows what they're doing can work on it and get the parts. Okay, so it's not proprietary, where if something goes wrong and for whatever reason you don't like our company, you choose to use another company for repairs or what have you, they can do that. It's, for lack of a better term, the valve is generic. Okay, so there's a 5-year manufacturer's warranty on the clack valve. There's a 10-year warranty on the tanks themselves. That's their fiberglass tanks that hold the media or resin bead, depending on which system you're talking about. But there's a 10-year warranty on the tanks, and for parts and labor, there's a 1-year warranty from the company, from installation date. The media, there really isn't a warranty period, so to speak, on the media, I would say at least, there's got to be at least a 90-day period. But I mean, at that point, it depends on what's in the water, how much material, how much mineral and contaminants we are filtering out and getting rid of from in the water, and the usage, the water usage. So let's take your oversized colonial that has 5 bedrooms and 3.5 baths or 4 baths. They will actually probably use more water than definitely use more water than the police station would, and probably more than the fire station, with the exception of when they wash their apparatuses, when they're washing the trucks. There's no reason why there's not enough mineral in the water, particulate mineral, to muck up that softener and cause it to prematurely fail. The manganese and the hardness are going to stay in solution. So those are the things that the softener, the water softener, would take care of. And the pre-filter, that backwashing oxidizing filter, will take care of oxidizing the iron in the water and that hydrogen sulfide gas smell. So they need to be serviced probably at least annually. All right, and that means cleaning the screens and the nozzles in the valves themselves, and then just simply maintained by whoever's maintaining them, like the existing softeners now, by putting salt in the brine tank, things like that.
Thank you.
Now, would this give us a 99%? 99% guarantee
reduction.
that we're going to not have this problem?
Yes, it would.
So we'll have no spotting on the trucks when they wash the trucks?
They should not. They should not. And if they do, then we're going to be back to find out why, and then adjust, make some adjustments, or swap out the systems for something else. But this is primarily the best way to take out. You can't take hardness out of the water. Well, you can, but it's the best way to take hardness out of the water is with a water softener.
Yeah.
And you just have to make sure that it's sized properly for the job you're asking it to do, and the amount of hardness that's in the water.
Okay.
And this is I believe it's a 60 or 65,000, see, fire station. That is I believe it's like a 65,000 grain capacity. So it's, as opposed to the other one, that's a 45,000 grain capacity.
Okay. Any more questions from the board?
Nope.
Okay, thank you, sir.
You're very welcome.
Thank
Thank you
you.
very much.
All right, bye-bye.
Moving on to C, EOC update. Representative from the Molekule to speak on the air filter system. Is he on?
Hi, everybody. So this is Tricia. I'd like to introduce Moore Harris. He is on Zoom. Fortunately or unfortunately, he's in San Francisco, probably enjoying 80-degree weather while we're suffering. So I gave you a little rundown of Molekule, the basics. He's going to get into whatever questions you may have. But the other thing I wanted to remind you that in our last meeting, Moore and I did discuss if he can do anything with our police and fire HVAC systems, and they do not. So the ARPA committee hopes to meet next week, and we will be tackling that individually for any of our town buildings that are not forced hot air. That are forced hot air, sorry about that. So Moore is going to take it away, and hopefully you've got questions. I've done a lot of research. I shared a lot of that with you, but hopefully he can clarify questions that you may have for the individual filters. And when Moore and I talked, I gave him rough measurements. of every office in Town Hall, the police department and the fire station, we can back those out of what I talked to him about. The library, the museum on South Main Street, and also the 3 buildings at the transfer station. So he's got a little bit of a rough idea what we're dealing with, and possibly then he'll have to come in, or somebody will come in and measure. And more, take it away. I'm sure I'm screwing this up, but see what you can tell us.
Thank you so much, Tricia. Appreciate that. And we've been in good conversations here for a little while, getting to understand the needs of the different buildings that you just outlined. I also wanted to bring on Hal, who is our senior content development manager. He has prepared a quick and brief little presentation that goes over our proprietary technology, as well as how we've dealt with COVID and the third-party research that we've done with the University of Nebraska. So I'm going to hand it over to him, and then we'll be happy to answer questions after that.
Sure. Hi, everybody. My name is Hal. Yes, I am the science content development manager here at Molekule. Maura asked me to come in and just kind of present some of the basic science of our technology to all of you. I have a lot of different graphs and things like that I could possibly show you, but I think I'm just going to kind of describe it in general terms, and then if you have any questions, I can refer to the data that I have at hand here. Also, at the end, we can ask any questions about the technology, how it works, any questions related to air purifiers, pollution, air quality, anything like that. Molekule, the company, was started about 6 years ago with the goal of reinventing air purification. Pico technology, the special technology in our device, has been in the works for about 25 years. Our founder and the inventor of Pico, Yogi Goswami, originally designed solar panel technology, but his focus shifted when his son had frequent asthma attacks because traditional air purifiers seemed to kind of be missing some of the asthma triggers that were in the air. So Yogi parlayed in the material science he knew about solar cells into air purification, inventing Pico, which is PECO, which stands for photoelectrochemical oxidation. Pico is actually a physical substance that is coated onto the fibers of a filter material and then is activated by a UVA light inside the purifier. Pico then will initiate a powerful chemical reaction to speed up the natural process of oxidation with the goal of neutralizing pollutants and irritants in the air in a more complete way than capturing them in a net of fibers like traditional air purification methods. Oxidation by the air by hydroxyl radical is the same way that the sun renews our atmosphere high up in the stratosphere. So speeding up the oxidation process makes our purifiers more effective in removing a wider range of pollutants and returning the air to a natural, more irritant-free state. Things like viruses, bacteria, mold spores, pollen, clean chemicals, off gases from new furniture, off gases from building material, off gas from mattresses. These are all examples of contaminants that are organic in nature and can be destroyed by Pico. And of course, just having a catalyst isn't enough. We also need to create purifiers that utilize it properly. So Yogi, our inventor, he's a professor and he still works in academia. So we've done quite a bit of testing and validation on our purifiers, including getting FDA clearance as Class 2 medical devices to remove viruses and bacteria from the air. So those are FDA cleared devices. And of course, as the pandemic has been developing, we've been focusing our research into showing how our purifiers remove viruses from the air. So far, 2 peer-reviewed papers are resulting from that research, and there are more in the pipeline. We have concrete data on mold spores, bacteria, bacterial spores, smoke dust, pollen, VOC removal. More asked me to focus more on the virus testing, but I can answer any questions about other pollutants at the end as well. So I think first I did want to, we've done a lot of just validation virus testing for a lot of our air purifiers just in kind of large chambers. And we've seen them remove 99.99% of viruses in about a half an hour or so. But that is of course in a sealed chamber. So we've done even more testing than that. First actually tested on viruses officially at the University of Minnesota, and that was back in 2020, when it was practically impossible to get actual strains of SARS-CoV-2 to test on. So we tested in that case on influenza and some other strains of coronavirus that only affect animals. We did this testing on Air Mini, and that's our smaller purifier. It went very well. We saw that the unit itself was able to grab at least 99% of the virus particles out of the air in just a single pass. And then the virus particles that did manage to make it through the other end were inactivated at a rate of 10 to 100x. So even the virus particles that kind of grazed the catalyst on the way out of the device were inactivated. The proteins on their surfaces were destroyed sufficiently where they could no longer infect a test culture. And then they also looked for remaining virus on the filter. They couldn't really find any. So we put the viruses directly onto the filter and saw that they degraded about 90% after an hour and less than 1% after 4 hours. So any viruses that do land on the filter and land or captured by the purifier are eventually destroyed through oxidation. The study I just talked about has been peer-reviewed and published in the journal Indoor Air. We can provide the link if anyone would like to read it. Then just a few months ago, we were able to get a hold of some wild SARS-CoV-2 that was captured in Wisconsin, and we had the opportunity to do some testing at the University of Nebraska. This is a little bit more of like a validation study on how well PICO would generalize to this specific species of coronavirus. But it went really well. We were able to put some real SARS-CoV-2 on the PICO filter, and then after 1 hour, there were no viable virus particles that we could detect. This was just completed in November, so we don't have a peer review paper link quite yet, but we do have some blog posts that I can share with you if you'd like to see it. And then again, as I said earlier, PICO doesn't just work on viruses, it also destroys VOCs, mold, pollen, any carbon-based compound, in addition to removing ozone from the air. Ozone does have the potential to react with VOCs and to make them even more toxic, so we don't want any of it around if we can avoid it. Yeah, that's kind of a general science explanation and overview of our virus testing specifically. So does anyone have any specific questions about other pollutants or any other questions about the technology in general?
So you said this moves 99.9 of the virus?
Yes.
Okay. And this is only for forced hot water systems, or?
This is an air purifier.
Okay.
So it's a freestanding air purifier that will be sitting in the room removing viruses continuously.
Okay.
I have a question, Selectman Michaels here, just that I know that it sees the distinction between HEPA, which will also capture the virus. You're saying that unlike that, it destroys it. And that is better because...
Also with HEPA, there's a couple of viruses that can make it out the other end. So, our technology will help out those on the way out. I would say that PICO's just does a bit more of a complete job at removing from the air by destroying them on the back end. Like HEPA is designed specifically for particles, so it doesn't have any specific way to capture gases and things like that, formaldehyde. Most HEPA purifiers come with a carbon component that is used to remove gases. So our devices have traditional filtration, just like HEPA does. There's carbon in there, just like traditional filtration, and then it also has this additional technology on the back end to destroy things that might penetrate.
So,
okay, I think
Trish,
when you talk about you don't capture it, the idea is that when the COVID comes into your filter and it touches that PICO, it destroys it.
That's
right?
correct.
Yes.
There is also
whereas it might stay on a HEPA filter, which it eventually will die within a short period of time, but not necessarily right away. Is that just the capture idea? Okay.
Mm-hmm. And then we also thought about smoke and dust and all that kind of stuff. So it does capture particles as well.
Okay, so there is a HEPA part in it in addition to the PICO.
It's like it's a traditional like high efficiency fabric filter. We're not allowed to call it HEPA, but yeah, it's a high efficiency like fabric filter.
Okay, so the same micron sizes will work with that fabric in addition to PICO.
Yes, definitely. It will handle all sizes of pollutants.
And then the carbon, which does the other stuff. Okay, thanks.
Trish, you said this is the only company that does this?
So with the research that I did and when I worked with the state on some of the calls and called some of the other towns, this was the company that was highly recommended because it does capture and destroy, and it works on viruses, mold, and smoke, and other particles. And it was very financial friendly, I guess I would say. So are there others out there? Yes. But this seemed to be the one that everyone is saying we should be using as a municipality.
So we didn't get which buildings would be covered or a quote on each building, correct?
So we did. So Moore and I did a rough, and so let's keep in mind, I did measurements. Let's remember, I'm a Blonzini here. So I did measurements of everybody's offices, the transfer station buildings, the museum across from the 108 General Store there. And so we've got rough estimates, and we had to back off the original estimates that had included the police and the fire. And I think, and I don't have that exactly in front of me, but it was like between $8,000 and $9,000 for like about 16 or 17 different units. Because each office, you know, like Mary Jo's office, Diane's office, the bookkeeper, Nancy, the building department, Jim upstairs, the food pantry needs one. Our auditorium, where you are right now, is going to have a bigger unit. So based on the sizes of the square footage of the rooms is how we determine which size that you're going to need. And you heard Hal talk about the Air Pro Mini. There's all different ones. And I certainly can send that out to you, or more can. Or if we're going to actually take measurements, you know, to be more accurate than what I did, you know, maybe the building department would help me. We could take more accurate measurements unless Molekule sends somebody out. I'm not sure how that works. More, maybe you can jump in and tell us that.
Yeah, so we can do it both ways. What we can absolutely do is just get the measurements of the rooms, both what the amount of square footage on the floor as well as ceilings. And what we can then do is recommend what devices and depending on as well how many people are in the room to what might be the best recommendation from exactly what you mentioned a bit earlier. I think the ballpark number that we had was at 16 devices, and that was a combination of our minis, which are recommended for 250 square feet, and then the Air Pro, which is good for about 1,000 square feet.
Right, thank you.
And you said that it doesn't cover police or fire?
Well, it won't, because, and I'll let Moore jump in, but with the research that I did, not only with Moore, but with other towns, because these are standalone units, and they are for buildings or offices that are forced hot water systems. They're not for forced hot air. Forced hot air, we may be able to get like adapters on the HVAC systems, which hopefully our committee next week, we have somebody on the committee that said, hey, they'll start tackling that for the police and fire. So yes, you're right. It's really for forced hot water systems, or like the transfer station that really has nothing, God help us.
Okay.
Just a quick aside. I think you said this, sir, but mold, for example.
Yes.
How do they work with mold?
I'll let Hal answer that, but on the research, and I think I shared with you at our last meeting, yes, it will eradicate mold as well, the particles that mold develops, but I'm not the person that specializes in this. Go ahead, Hal, take it away.
Yeah, we do have some naturopath, like black mold specialist naturopaths that we work with, but yeah, what it would do, it would be able to remove mold spores from the air. So anybody who's sensitive to mold, it would help them out a lot. You would still have to, remove any mold colonies that were in the house. You'd have to, monitor your relative humidity. Our Air Pro device does measure relative humidity, so that would be convenient, and make sure that no mold was further growing, but it would definitely remove the mold spores and help out anybody who is particularly sensitive.
That's really good in our old buildings.
It is, definitely.
They're very old.
Yes, between us and the town hall and the library, we were concerned about that.
Yeah, and the systems, I just know from personal stuff that in the police and fire, that you can get HEPA filtration added to those ductwork usually. And then you
Yes.
could figure out if you need individual units in addition, but I don't know.
Right, but it's interesting, and again, more, Hal can jump in. It was interesting to learn that the HEPA filters don't necessarily do what we want for the viruses. So we really have to come up with a company that is going to deal with viruses to not only capture but destroy them, whereas HEPA filters don't necessarily do that. So we've got these two kind of brand new buildings that we have to come up with an alternative plan. And again, we're working on it, but it looks like, Hal, you unmuted yourself. Jump in.
I was just going to mention that if you're, I know that putting a HEPA filter on an HVAC system does require a lot more. You got to push the air through there, and so it can be a little more challenging. We do have clients that prefer portable air purifiers because oftentimes HEPA and HVAC system, or just an HVAC system, isn't really designed to clean the air. It's more designed to keep the for temperature and to keep the any filters on there are designed to protect the mechanics inside the HVAC system. So our purifiers would be next to people protecting them.
Okay.
I have a question.
Oh, go ahead, Diane, and then I'm going to answer something for Kate.
So on your products, do they need to be in the center of the room? Can they be like off to the side in a corner?
We do recommend that they go in as central a place as possible, but it's also important that they're near the people. So wherever the people are would be the best place for the purifiers, and they do function best if they're a few feet off the ground, so that they can really clean the breathing zone.
I'm sorry, how many feet off the ground?
Maybe like 2 or 3, like on a small table.
Like a small table, Diane. Think of an end table.
Okay.
And within 3 feet of the person maybe that's sitting there, and they're pretty silent. I was pretty impressed with what I saw when I went and saw one. So yeah, within 3 feet of the person, table height is highly recommended.
Okay, thank you.
For the audience watching, I mean, isn't this within the purview of the grant money? If people
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
I want people
It
to know
is.
that. And just from what, oh gosh, I'm sorry, your name is not Moore.
Moore
This
Harris,
is
yep.
more-
How
yes.
whoever's been talking, sorry. So it sounded like you said that we might want to consider this for police and fire regardless of the, forced air systems, potentially. Is that what I
Yes.
implied?
Yes.
Yes, it definitely is something that we've seen as an extra layer of protection when it comes to HVAC system. Hal described it and I think he hit the nail on the head of it really isn't designed for the air purification side, mainly the heating and cooling of the air in the space. And what this can do is add that extra layer of protection, say, instead of forcing the air across the room, having let's say there's a viral load on one side and there's intake there and then the outtake on the other, then the virus needs to potentially cross the entire room, passing through multiple people. That's how traditional HVAC systems are set up. Whereas having that localized air purification in each one of those spaces allows there to be those clean air zones in each one. So when it comes to sort of what's top priority, I think that this is what Tricia came to me with, these more office spaces, and then potentially having the police and fire being less of a top priority from the airflow perspective, because they're not as old buildings. I know from a fire department, probably doors are opening and closing constantly, bringing fresh air in, whereas in offices, normally they're much more enclosed environments. So can be more than happy to, yes, go ahead.
But if you don't put the HEPA on your system in those places, the molecule would still work, right? It's not like the molecule only works if you put the HEPA on the system. It would work.
Absolutely.
Okay, that's what I was going to make sure of. So you could consider not maybe putting them in some of the smaller office areas, like where the people eat in the fire station, et cetera. Not in the giant bay. And in the room, you can't really see it well. It's a very large hall. I think it's more than 1,000 square feet, this room, isn't it? Or is that just my imagination?
Right, I don't have it in front of me, but I did give it to Moore, I don't know if he has his paperwork in front of him, but this may also help with what you're you're suggesting, Kate, or what you're asking. When Maura and I first got together, we talked about all town buildings, including fire department and the police department and the individual offices. And so the original, and again, I don't want to hold a Molekule to this, but the original ballpark estimate, if we did everything, including police and fire, the individual offices, you know, between the police and the fire, it was, you know, I forget, 9 additional spaces. The bay for the fire truck, the bay area of the fire trucks, which kind of one would say, well, what the heck do you need that for? But because our emergency operating center is actually in the fire station, and if we had to stay there, God help us with and stay on cots, the bay area, that loft area over the fire trucks is where we sleep. So we really actually have to have a unit for that. So if we included everything, all the town buildings, the individual offices, and police and fire, it was about $34,000. And I actually have that in writing if you need that. So we thought, when Maura and I were talking, we thought, well, I don't know, if we could accomplish this with a lesser amount for the police and fire using the HVA system, maybe we should do that. But the biggest cost, Kate, was the fire department bays where the trucks are. And unfortunately, because the stairs above the trucks with that loft area is where we would sleep, if we were overnight like we did in the ice storm, we had to stay there for 12 days. That space, to purify that space, was about, I don't have it in front of me, but it was about $11,000 for the unit that we needed for the bays. So that's what bumped it up to that higher price from, say, $9,000 to like $34,000.
So maybe we look at it as phase 1 and 2.
Right, something like that.
Everything too, at least those buildings, you have the same community going in and out, whereas the other buildings,
Right.
you have lots of people you can't control, you don't, you know, they're all fine, but there's a lot more new people coming in and out. So that makes more sense.
Right. It's certainly something that you as the selectmen and the community can jump in on it. If, you know, we can come up with a plan. But I think initially, to protect the residents that come into our town buildings right now, we could go with the lesser amount, but know that we probably, while we have this grant money, we probably should consider the police and fire departments if we can't get a company that has an HVAC system adapter that will remove the viruses.
Sounds good. Sounds like
Okay. Thanks.
So Trish, if you could work with that company, get us something in writing for, as far as quotes, what buildings it's going into and the product itself.
Yeah, like
Okay.
one quote, one quote for everything, one quote for just the town hall, you know?
Okay, so one quote, say, for all the town buildings, and then a separate quote that includes town buildings and police and fire?
Yeah, that's what
Yeah,
I was
okay.
thinking, yeah.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Thank
Any
you.
more questions from the board for the company?
Nope.
Great, thank you, guys.
Thank you so
Okay,
much.
thanks, Moore, thanks, Hal.
Thank you.
Chairman Foote, can I just give a quick EOC update?
Yeah, sure.
I'll be really quick because I see you've got a lot on your agenda. Okay, so quickly, COVID numbers as of today. For Newton, we've got, in the last 14 days, we've got 75 cases. I want to remind you that we're doing another clinic on February 13th. That's a Sunday at the fire station on 8 Merrimack Road from 9 to 1. We're going to do all the vaccines, including the boosters, and we're also doing the pediatric ones. Just like our previous vaccine, please stay in your car. The police officers will tell you when to get out of the car. It worked really well. We want to remind you to bring a photo ID and your vaccine card. Please, this isn't just for Newton. Get it out there. We are trying to get everyone vaccinated. The unfortunate piece of this is that only 39.2% of our Newton residents are vaccinated. That's not so good. We're trying to prevent the virus from expanding. In schools, we've got 35 recovered cases in the Memorial School alone as of last week. That's pretty scary. only 1 in the middle school, 14 in the Bakey, 15 in the high school. So we're seeing it out there, and the only way we're gonna prevent this from expanding is get the word out to send people to the clinic. Also, EMD Foot was able to get some test kits. We have, not an unlimited supply, certainly. We have to log where it's going. But if you want a test kit, it's not the rapid ones, it's the saliva ones. Please call the EOC at 603-382-1610. Leave a message, and either Larry or I will call you back. And the last thing that I want to say is, so this grant, the ARPA grant that we've been working on, we had a fabulous meeting last week, and the U.S. Treasury, God bless them, have expanded what we can use this money on. And now they've said we can use it for government services. So this has opened up a little bit more of an avenue that we did before. Before, they said it had to be COVID related, and they made us use this god-awful lost revenue calculator and said, based on this lost revenue calculator and deducting that for what we were getting for the grant is all we could use for, say, infrastructure or government services. Now that went away. So this is kind of exciting, which means, and I see farther on your agenda, you're talking about networks and things. I would say, let the EOC know what you think you're trying to do. If it's to do with government services, we might, and I say might, be able to get it covered under this expanded service for what they call non-entitlement units of the government. So don't be too hasty in thinking to purchase something, just in case we can put it through and not end up being a burden on our budgets. So that's the most exciting thing. It was an amazing meeting. There are more guidelines coming out because, God forbid, they should tell us everything all at the same time. So they said, wait another couple of weeks and we're going to get a little more information. But I'm putting that out there. So if you think you need something, get a hold of me or Larry so that we can see if maybe we can get it covered. And that's all I have.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, D, Epping Well, you on?
Yes, he's here. Hank is here. Go ahead, Hank.
Hi, how are you this evening?
Hey, how are you?
Good. So I just wanted to, we could discuss the quote a little bit for the fire station and the police station. As far as water treatment systems goes, it would have been really great if we were able to do one system, but the line from the well actually cuts off at the well and goes into both buildings, so they both need to be treated separately. So that's kind of the deal. Currently, when I was called in, there's some spotting going on when we watched the fire trucks, and I looked at the system, and it was really just undersized for what you're doing. And it does backwash, obviously, at a point of the day. So my recommendation was a twin tank softener, so you could have clean water 24 hours a day, something that could handle the flow that's required. And yeah, and we can go through it, but there was a twin tank softener, an aeration unit, and then we did find a touch of arsenic we were going to treat. So I didn't know if you guys wanted to discuss it or if you had any questions. And I did quote both the fire station and a new system in the police station. Both are 24 hours a day systems, unlike what's there.
So what Hank, what about
Yes.
the pressure? I had sent you an email about the pressure at the fire station. Will this take care of it?
So my thought there is there's a really small line going over to the hose bib. It was 1/2 inch, so I could easily fix that. And the other thing is we're running what was installed originally was a 3/4 small unit. I have a larger unit in my home, in my 2-bedroom home. So I was shocked at the size of that, and I don't know if that was just, I'm not sure what the thought was behind that, and I'm not going to guess, but it's a really small system that's there, so there's definitely flow restrictions. There is a 3/4 line that was put into the ground. It's a CTS pipe, so we're only going to be able to get so much through there, but putting the correct size unit and fixing that line, the half-inch line, putting something, at least 1 inch over, I'll at least be able to provide all that can come through the line. And the well is a 15-gallon, there's a 15-gallon minute pump in the well, so we should easily be able to provide that.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
Anybody have any questions for Epping Well? Okay, thank you. We'll get back to you once we look at the full proposals.
Yeah, absolutely. And any questions, you guys can email me or meet again. No worries at all. I'm available anytime.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for having me, and you guys have a great night.
Take care.
You too. E, personnel policy update. Evan or Kate?
That is Kate, but I'm part of the policy committee, but Kate did all the work.
Kate? Kate, do you have anything?
Yeah, I muted. I'm just pulling up the document.
Okay.
1 minute. What happened? Okay, so regarding some clarification we may need in our policy. Our current policy, which is standard pretty much throughout the country, is that part-time employees don't get certain benefits or holiday pay until they're permanent part-time. Just as you work longer, you get better benefits. We do this to incentivize people. And as we all know, federal holidays are known years in advance, and employees will know far in advance if and when their workday would fall on a federal holiday. It's also pretty cost prohibitive to give people who have worked, who are part-time employees, just pay them for holidays. And it would be something you couldn't really enforce uniformly or fairly, or if we did, it would be cost prohibitive. So let's see what of this I'm gonna actually read. And in the research I gave you, I put a link to our policy, a link to the Gale Village Library's policy showing very similar things. And what could be helpful to include, it may be kind of assumed, but all managers may not know this, that if a normal working day should fall on a federal holiday that would preclude one from working, the employee may arrange to make up the lost hours at another time to be completed by the end of a period of time that we determine. It could be the calendar year or the pay cycle, what have you. And we can insert language, even though it should be implicit, that when a part-time employee's regular schedule falls on a federal holiday, department heads will make a reasonable effort to accommodate employees' efforts to make up these lost hours. So if in the event you have any part-time employee who signs up and notices that they work on a certain day, that's the only day they can work, and or most of the time, and they're worried about loss of income because on that particular year, which they know far in advance, they fall on those days, they can make up those hours at another time. That would just be at least the most equitable and common way to do it. The only other thing, which I don't think the taxpayers would go to, and we'd have to look into it, would be you could implement a new category of employee that is post-probation and pre-permanent part-time, because permanent part-times have worked for a year or so, that potentially, if they pass their probation favorably, you could give them perhaps a perk of one paid holiday of their choice. I'm not sure how you would work that, but that is, no one else does that. Towns and I do that. I think it's potentially the taxpayers would be upset and maybe too complicated. But that would be an equitable, reasonable way to ensure that in all departments, no one should be unable to make up hours and have it impact them negatively in the event on a certain year, days that they work fall on holidays for our part-time employees. And Edvin, I know you read this, so if you want to chime in.
No, I mean, it's very well written. I mean, it's kind of not much we can do, really, when it comes to the part-time holidays.
And I mean, let's say, so you have 4 hours that you can't work, and you're not going to lose that work of the holiday because your department head will say, hey, go, you get to make them up, which is good. And I think that a lot of people, it just may not be known that that's something that can be done. I don't know what the other, all departments are doing, but if we put it in the policy, it will And I think it's really important that our policy is absolutely shown to every new employee, so they know ahead of time what to expect, what is standard. So no one should feel that they're being treated unfairly. It's really important that they know this is the town policy, and we're going to reward you the longer you stick with us. We appreciate you. And in the event there's a great inconvenience on the holiday thing, you can make up the hours. You won't lose your income. And as soon as you become a part of the family and you work for a year, you get these great benefits. The other thing I mentioned about that post-probation, that's the only other way I could see we can consider that at another time, but I think that's too much to do in this meeting.
Yeah.
And I don't think taxpayers would be thrilled, but hey, maybe Kim could look into how much it would cost the town to do that.
Yeah, I seem to remember when we updated this policy years ago, we did, for the transfer station, for example, Thursday is always, transfer station is open on a Thursday, and Thanksgiving is on Thursdays. So the, one or two employees that fell into this category were given the option of coming in to clean on off hours, like on another day and stuff like that. So I remember us looking at NHMA. I remember us looking at, the federal examples, and also the fact that, the holidays, there's 11 of them, right? Something like that.
Yeah.
So we know ahead of time, so.
So I guess, am I allowed to put a motion in to add the language that I mentioned into our policy? Do we motion it? What's the appropriate way?
I have a question, Kate.
Yeah.
So during all our COVID calls, they're saying to make sure in our medical leave policies that we have an area in there to do with COVID or viruses or any pandemic. You don't necessarily call it COVID. Because we are supposed to be dealing with that and allowing people to take the time that they need if they have COVID. So is that something that Primex, did they weigh in on anything, or am I on a different day, a different calendar? Should I be talking about this?
Is a really good thing that we should do next, if that's
okay.
I think that we should examine, of course, hopefully we won't need a COVID policy much longer, but then who knows, it could be the next pandemic.
Right. Okay.
So I think that's wise to add that to the policy update list, and also, I guess, discuss with you directly what they're recommending.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you.
So did she do a motion, or you want to do an amendment?
I think,
I
think she was going to do a motion, but typically what we do is when we do a policy update, we do the policy update, we have a draft put before us, and then we vote to adopt the draft.
Okay, so then I would just suggest that Diane make up a draft with the language that she has, right? And then we will do that.
So you want me to do the job? Okay, gotcha.
Hey, it's
I'm
all
just
pretty
kidding.
up to you.
And then we can vote on it on the next,
All right.
next meeting.
Yeah.
Okay. We're gonna go to F, town buildings.
Just wait, real quick, one quick thing. The idea that would we put in that it is important that all new hires, I mean, I know they're given it, or particularly department heads be made aware of this policy ahead of time and reminded to tell new employees, because that will be very helpful.
Probably a good idea.
Right, so
Okay, I don't know if we put it in the policy or where, but
it'd be good if the
consider that.
department head gave the employee, within 2 weeks of that holiday, if they know they're working, say, pick a day between the next 2 weeks to make up that 8 hours for that day that we're gonna give you off, that you're not gonna get paid for. So if Thanksgiving's on a Thursday, the week before, say, you can either come in Monday or Wednesday or Friday, it's up to you, to make up for that Thursday that you're supposed to work but we're closed.
Okay, we might all need to consider what pay period, like what timing. Do they have till the end of the year to make the hours? Do we want to make it the end of the pay period? Because Diane will need to know that. Or we could.
It'll be their option. If they don't want to make up the time, that's fine too.
Oh, yeah. But I
we-
mean, does the department head will have the ability to decide when, within, like, how long do they have within the calendar year? Let's say Thanksgiving's Thursday. In some place you could have them, you know,
Oh,
they can't do it that week, but they can make it up within the calendar year, within the pay period. That needs to get specified. Or we leave it at the discretion of the department head.
I don't think our intention is to make this a floating
Yeah.
thing. I think it's that week. You
Within
know,
that
you work,
pay cycle.
you work 15 hours a week or whatever it is. So either you work 15 hours a week and put it on different days, or you work 10 hours.
Right. You have that 2 weeks to make up that 8 hours in that pay cycle, so even if they did
Okay,
4
so
hours
till the
and
end of
4
the pay
hours or
cycle
whatever.
is what you guys seem to, should we take a vote? Like, because before we bring it as a policy to be voted on? So it sounds to me like you're making a motion that when we put this, we want that those hours need to be completed within that pay cycle. Is that what I'm hearing?
I think what I'm hearing is, I could be way off base, is we need paper in front of us. And
Okay.
so typically, in my experience with policies, is you send out the draft policy, emailed everybody, people can read it, they can mark it up, send it back to the committee can make changes, and then in that meeting, whatever date we pick, that's when we vote on it finally, so.
Okay.
And I don't know how Diane got pulled into this personally. Diane, I don't think has ever done any policy work before. Is that correct?
Nancy, excuse me, that's Nancy.
I'll draft it up and then I'll send it to Edvin and Kate. They can critique it and then we'll go from there.
It's really just
I'm
gonna be a
sorry, if I
two-line
was
policy.
mistaken and it's
Well,
Nancy.
the
I
policy
apologize.
exists, so it's 2 lines
Two-line
change.
amendment,
Yeah,
that's all it is. In the
right.
event of a federal holiday,
Right.
the employee has the option to, A,
Right.
work within that 2-week cycle to make up the 8 hours, or just waive, you're not getting paid at all, which is fine too. So if they want the day off with no pay, that's fine. But, so, moving on. G, fire department, quote to paint lines on apparatus bay floor. So I have a question, is why is this coming to us for only $400?
Because of
Because-
where it's got to come from, Larry, where the money's got to come from. He
And
don't
that's
want it
it.
coming from his budget, he wants it coming from the building fund.
It really is, and maybe not something for tonight, but we really need to establish a threshold.
Yeah, absolutely.
It doesn't,
Just-
it wouldn't matter because you need to instruct the
And
trustees.
I know, but
Okay.
we need to come up with some other way so we don't have agenda items for $400. I know all the factors involved, but it's like at some point, we got to figure out a more efficient
Matt,
way.
he was told that he could not do it
And he was told correctly.
because it wasn't in his budget.
Yeah, he was told correctly.
Yeah.
I'm
Where
just
did
saying. that,
the
yeah.
painted lines come from the police station? The lines they put in?
It came from general government buildings.
Did that come
Different.
before us?
Different fund,
No.
different
It
fund.
it was on the spreadsheet that the board approved, and he waited the full year to make sure there was funds at the end of the year. We've got all the documentation, the board signed the
All right.
requisition.
So can we approve this?
Manifest.
Yeah, I move to approve the quote for $400 to paint lines on the apparatus bay floor with the money to come from, and I always get the name wrong, the
Town buildings,
Town
capital
Buildings
reserve fund.
Capital Reserve Fund. Yeah.
Second.
Second, any more discussion? Kate?
Aye.
Charlie?
Aye.
Edvin?
Aye.
Matt?
Aye.
Aye. Quote to install heater in the utility room.
I don't know, where the hell are we saying?
Do we have a quote for that?
Yeah, $532.75.
532.75?
Yep.
So I'd like to make a motion to approve the purchase order for $532.75 for a heater for the mechanical room at the fire station, with the money to come from the General Government and Buildings Capital Reserve Fund.
Okay, is that the one you wanted to come out of? It should-
The
in my
last
opinion-
one, the one I just did,
Capital Reserve.
So the town buildings, capital reserve.
the same exact one that I
Okay.
just did. Yep.
Second.
Got it.
Second.
Second by Edvin, any discussion? Kate?
Aye.
Charlie?
Aye.
Edvin?
Aye.
Matt?
Aye.
I'm an aye. G, Fire Department Engine 1 quote for repairs.
Okay, engine 1 needs brakes. It's down at Greenwoods. It's been down there for a while. And it's $1,500. We have a $1,500 cap. This would be coming out of his repair, but it's over $1,500. He would like us to approve to use over $1,500 if it's repair or maintenance to one of the vehicles, like the fire trucks or any one of the apparatus, not equipment or anything else like that, just the fire truck.
I'm not understanding the cap. Where's the cap
Okay,
come from?
now we have a cap that he can't spend over $1,500.
He cannot, or departments cannot?
Department heads.
Department.
I thought though.
When did we establish that cap?
I think in an emergency, I thought we said we can go over the 1,500.
I don't think there was ever a motion for a $1,500
There's never been a cap for,
Okay, we've talked
he-
about
There
this.
was,
He says we have talked about
there was
this
a
for
cap
6
at the end
years.
of the year before.
The
Yeah.
five,
wasn't there,
it's usually
Mary's talking
500.
about the bidding process, no?
The bidding process is $4,000.
He's talking about the purchase policy.
Right,
There is a
Purchase policy,
$1,500,
right.
right? There's $1,500, after $1,500, you get a requisition, you get a quote.
And then you bring it to the board and the board approves it.
Right.
He wants us not to have to come to the board because he has to wait 2 to 3 weeks just for us to approve it. And then he has to wait for the repairs. So now he's into 3 weeks and possibly even longer when you go to the garages now, you're in a line. If you get kicked out of the line, you go to the back of the pack. So now you have to start over. So he don't want to wait 4 or 5 weeks
Yeah.
to get this stuff repaired.
Yeah.
He's only asking for us to do this on like brake jobs, anything that's broken on the fire trucks.
So this is a policy change he's asking
Yeah.
for.
So if we approve this first, and then we'll have to go to the policy change.
Exactly, yeah.
So can I just ask a question? Why would we have to do a policy change? The purchase policy allows as long as he gets a requisition or a quote. It's only when it goes over the 5,000 that you have to go out to bid, and I think that was one
So
of
he,
This ain't a
so he
case
can
of
get
both of it.
anything
anything fixed under 5,000 when it comes to the fire apparatus,
Does he have it in his budget?
if he has it in his budget.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah,
You want
this
to
is what I'm confused on, because
Yeah.
that was my understanding. Diane just told me something different, though, that at $1,500,
That's what we
you
did.
have to come before the board.
Right.
Not for regular maintenance of your vehicles, as if you're purchasing something.
What were you referring to, Diane?
I thought the purchase policy states that you had to come to the board for $1,500 for services as well.
Yep, that's
Now,
what
if
I
that's
thought.
not the
That's what
right,
I
if I'm
remember.
interpreting it incorrectly, then I apologize.
Yeah, I mean, let's just, at any rate, I don't think tonight we're going to hold this up at all, but we just want to get our facts straight, because if it's in his budget, I don't have a problem with him doing it,
Right.
you know?
All right, so can I get a motion?
Motion to approve requisition number 1001 for $2,189.53 to repair engine 1, coming out of the vehicle repair budget line item? Possibly?
Second.
Second by Charlie, any discussion? Kate?
Aye.
Edvin?
Aye.
Matt?
Aye?
Charlie?
Aye.
Nam and I. So, that, we can straighten out that 1,500, 5,000, but, yeah.
By next meeting, maybe we can have the official word
So,
on that.
H, Fire Department, request to modify the pay matrix.
What the chief would like on this is he would like the password for the matrix system so that he can get in there and do his job. And the only one that has it is either Lisa, the treasurer, or Jim Doggett, because they're the ones that developed it. So he can't get in it, Nancy can't get in it, Diane can't get in it, and he would like to have the password so that he can get into it. So that
That's
he
true,
don't
nobody
have
can
to
get into it?
bother them at the town hall.
The problem with that is none of us were allowed to change the matrix. It was created by the Board of Selectmen. Lisa was a selectman at the time. We can't let department heads go in and start changing it around because it skews all of the formulas that are in there.
So neither one of them are selectmen anymore, and they shouldn't have the password.
Well, they don't go into it anymore either, but none of us are educated in the matrix and how that all calculates out.
Yeah,
So,
well, I think there's a couple of things here. Is first of all, we need to get the passwords changed.
fine.
You know, it's just the way it is when it is. Secondly, I think what the chief's not understanding is this is an Excel spreadsheet. So what we're talking about is the password to change the original spreadsheet is what's needed, but it shouldn't be in the hands of a department head. What the chief should do is make a copy of the matrix, change it on his computer, bring that to the Board of Selectmen.
He can't.
I don't think you can do
He
that.
can't do it.
which-
That's what he
we
wants
should
to do, is be able to change it and bring it to us. But he can't.
I haven't played with it lately, but you can make a copy of a
You
spreadsheet.
should be able to get a copy on a
No,
computer.
he's saying just print it out, mark it up.
Exactly.
And then have somebody,
You propose it to the board, you say, board, this is what I want to change in red pen. If we approve it, then by that time, hopefully a couple of people here will have the passwords and they make the change to the original, the key document.
Can't we just make a copy, save it in a different document, and give him a copy to play
Right,
with?
can he do that and save a copy on his
Yeah,
computer?
you should be able to
So
do
for
that.
Yeah, you can just
person-
copy
Each
an Excel
person, he'd be able to
file.
change it and then submit it to
No,
us?
you cannot.
No,
It is a
nobody can
protected
change it.
cells.
Yeah,
Oh,
it still
protected.
needs to be protected, but you should be able to right-click on it and make
Is
a
it-
copy
is
that's
it
called
this
a
one?
copy of.
Is it this thing?
I think it's that one, yeah.
This one's not protected.
No, that's a different one.
Oh, it says fire pay matrix.
That might be different. But at any rate, somebody should be able to help the chief figure out how to make a copy that he can mark up and bring to us. So.
Then we need to get that password changed.
And the passwords shouldn't reside with, in my opinion, the password should reside with the town administrator and the secretary.
yeah.
And probably bookkeeper, right?
So I have a question, Chairman Foot.
Yeah.
So does that mean he can't even view it?
No, he's-
I'm not sure what he can and what he can't do.
Okay.
He cannot make any changes whatsoever in
Can he
there.
view
Well,
it?
I'm not asking changes. Can he
He can
see
view
it?
what he has, and that's it.
Everybody can see it who
Yeah.
can get to it.
Everyone can see it? Okay. Yeah, I have to agree with, not that I'm anybody, but I have to agree with Matt and Charlie and Larry. Clearly, the password should have been changed, you know, when we have our new leadership or whatever. And Kim and Nancy definitely should be the ones that have access to it. And then make sure that if department heads need it, that they're shown how to maybe view it and download their thing. And like you said, so take a red pen the old-fashioned way and mark it up and then bring it to the board how you want it changed.
Yeah, the board members change, so
Right, that's right. I think it should be
the
Nancy or
staff
Kim.
remains consistent, so,
Right, absolutely.
yeah.
So you
All
can
right,
bring
that was my 2 cents.
Bring that back to him and see if there's any other issues then.
Yep.
I mean,
So, Matt, the only other question,
it's not protected.
Yeah, I would have to
the only
verify.
other question is, I remember a while back, you had talked to the police chief and the fire chief and said, if you're not happy with the matrix, give us your input
Yeah,
as to
yeah.
what you would like.
Maybe this is it.
Well, I'm just thinking, it's not something that you go in and make one change, and then next week you come back with something else you
Yeah,
want to change.
absolutely,
I think we need to have a plan. It's not something that you can keep messing with and expect it's going to stay viable.
Yeah, I don't know what the changes are until he marks them up. We can see that, but you're right. I mean, you can't make just one change in one column. And
Changes are, they-
If he wants to go in and turn around
Well, I
and
know
change.
one of the categories
Fireman, he wants to
is
change out
fire
pay rate, send up to them
investigator
so that
and
they know.
fire something
He can't do
else. And he wants to have it say
All he wants to
fire
do is be able to,
inspector.
if
We
you
have one
do your
conversation,
steps and
please.
grades and send it up to the,
Selectman Melvin?
also the.
But once the step and grades are in place, the only thing they should be changing would be certifications, really. So if
incentives.
you wanted to add a certification or take one away,
Right, he can't do it. because he has fire inspector and fire,
He wants to change the title, Larry, not
Right.
the codes. The codes are already in there. But he wants to change one from like fire investigator to fire instructor.
inspector.
But that's what I'm saying, you don't change it just for one person who might have got that certification. You need to come up with a plan so that you cover all the bases.
I personally, and this is just coming from me, I'd like to see the department head work with the town administrator and the bookkeeper and come back to us with a plan. I feel like tonight, and again, this is just me on my soapbox, I feel like tonight I'm mediating something that doesn't need to be mediated at a selectmen's meeting. Am I the only one feeling that way? I think the department heads know how to get in touch with the town administration and vice versa. So, just my soapbox right now.
Yeah, just work with them. If you have any problems, just give me a call.
Yep.
I mean, again. Review quotes for laptops and network.
So it's really time to upgrade your laptops. I mean, we bought a year out of them, so that was pretty good. But they're going over 5 years at this point, and there's a couple of others that, like from 2016, I have another one in 2017. So, like I said, I think it's time that we do this, and I also would like to approach having the wireless network and the network in the town hall updated. And the reason for that is that I notice sometimes with Zoom is that I lose disconnection. I get disconnected up here. So we'll put an extra wireless access point in here that'll give you a broader range. And we'll also update our firewall and our switches, which are going out end of life. So no reason to pay for something that's old. The other thing that we need to do is to extend the warranty for the server that is up here. The server is used to store your files, your HR folder, all the selectmen minutes, any files that come up, all of that is stored here. I would suggest, Kim and I talked, and we would suggest using the lease option, the 36-month, and that would just be for the laptops. That way there in 3 years, it's like your car, you know, you lease a car, in 3 years you get a new one. This way here, we kind of stay updated, not get caught back again to like old equipment and having to put a big chunk of money out there to get back up to snuff. So I know Trish had mentioned that we might be able to use some of the funds from the ARPA, but
Yes.
I don't know, Trish, if this would be covered.
So part of it, that's a great, I was going to ask you if I could speak. So the network piece and like what you talked about getting kicked off because of Zoom, one of the things they've told us is because of COVID and communities and our committees and our boards using the Zoom platform and people getting kicked out, that actually is covered under ARPA. I don't think probably computers are covered because that doesn't necessarily help the general public. But let me check into that in the next couple of days and I'll get right back to you.
Okay.
So you need a motion for the 36-month lease?
Well, yes.
Maybe hand up? No? No.
That's what my recommendation was, that you go with the 36-month lease. It's a small amount of money each year. It'll come out of the cable revolving fund. And in that right there, Kim and I have been keeping a track of it. There's a little over 190,000. So we still have a good amount of money. And this, like I said earlier, is you're not going to have to put a big chunk in. You're going to put little chunks and be able to recoup some of that.
Do you need a motion on the other two items?
Well, that was,
Or you want a motion on the whole package?
the whole package would be awesome.
So the 36-month lease, and then the transfer station network refresh,
Yeah,
and then the town hall server warranty extension.
correct.
Now on that one, is that 36 months too?
No, the only thing that's on the lease are
Computer.
are the computers.
No, but on the bottom it says 36-month lease plus other non-lease for the warranty extension.
Right, so that total number down there includes the warranty extension, the network refresh and like the HP packs, the 10
Oh, that's the
kit
whole
pack.
total cost for the 3, okay.
Okay,
So motion to approve whole package from Armon in regards to our laptops, network, and warranty.
okay. In the
That
amount
sound
of-
good?
You want to go with the 36-month lease?
36 month lease
So you, okay,
to come from the cable revolving fund.
yeah, okay.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
Make it easier.
I get a second?
I'll second that, Evan.
Second, Charlie, discussion?
Yes, me. So Diane, could, and because obviously I can't see what you're looking at, can it be broken down so that the lease agreements and all of that is separate from the network, so that you can give me that network amount of money and let me try to get that covered, and then we'll reimburse your cable fund?
Yes, I can. We have all that separated already, so I'll get you the quote.
Perfect.
I'll just email you the quote that we have for the
You want me
network.
to revise my motion?
No,
That's
Yeah,
just,
they're all separate.
All right, cool.
if we can get it, she'll
Yeah,
reimburse
whatever.
us, so
Trish is
this'll
the
cover
expert.
us. Okay, good.
Okay,
Thanks.
perfect. Thank you.
Kate?
Yes?
Aye,
Oh, aye.
and
Aye.
nay? Charlie?
Aye.
Matt?
Aye.
Evan?
Aye.
I'm an aye.
Thank you.
Okay,
Appreciate
Jay,
it in the long run.
review the sales ratio set by the DRA.
The 2021 ratio is 80.9%. It dropped quite a bit because the houses are selling for so much more than what they're assessed at. So we're just announcing it to the board, to the public, so everybody knows what the ratio is at this
Okay.
time.
Cool.
Review the
Yippee, yay!
Review the IRS mileage reimbursement rate. So beginning this January,
58.5 cents.
58.5 cents per mile.
Yep. Same as the state.
So
So we have to
motion,
vote on this stuff, we want to increase it, right?
oh, sorry, anybody?
Yeah.
Motion to amend the employee rate of reimbursement effective January 1st, 2022 to 58.5 cents per mile per the IRS.
And do you want
Second.
that effective January
Second by
1st
Kate,
as the
discussion.
memo?
Yeah.
Yeah, that
So
should be.
Just add that to the motion?
Yeah, that's what I said, yeah, effective January 1st,
Thank
2022.
you.
Okay, second by Kate, any more discussion? Okay, Charlie?
Aye.
Edvin?
Aye.
Matt?
Aye.
Kate? Kate?
Aye, button issues. Aye.
And I'm an aye. Okay. L, Resignation Library Trustee. So dear Board of Selectmen and Gale Library Trustees, please accept this letter as notice of my resignation as Gale Library Trustee, effective January 31st, 2022. It has been a privilege to serve and collaborate with the Gale Library Board of Trustees. However, due to personal circumstances and timing, I can no longer continue serving at this time. Sincerely, Amanda Smart.
I would,
Thank you.
I would move to accept Amanda Smart's resignation as Gale Library Trustee with the thanks of the town for her service.
Second.
Second by Charlie. Any discussion? Kate?
Aye.
Evan?
Aye.
Charlie?
Aye.
Matt?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Selectmen's 2021 Yearly Report.
That's it, right there, Larry.
This?
Yeah.
Have the selectmen read this? And any changes you want to do?
No, that was what was emailed out, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So I was good with what,
You good with it?
yeah.
Look good?
Everybody else good? Okay.
Yep.
Other business. You didn't need a vote on that, right?
Nope.
No. Manifest.
Manifest, you want me to do it? I'd like to sign the manifest dated February 1, 2022, in the amount of $514.45, of which $731,037 goes towards the February Sanborn Regional School District payment.
Second?
Second by Edvin. Any discussion?
That was Matt.
I thought so.
Kate?
Makes no difference to me.
I want you to get the credit.
Kate?
Aye.
Charlie?
Aye.
Edvin?
Aye.
Matt?
Aye.
I'm an aye.
Signed cable vendor manifest dated February 1, 2022, in the amount of $2,046.65.
Second.
Second by Edvin. Any discussion? Charlie?
Aye.
Edvin?
Aye.
Kate?
Aye.
Matt?
Aye.
I'm an aye.
Signed payroll manifest pay period, January 16th through the 29th, 2022, with a pay date of February 3rd, 2022. Total payroll is $52,059.76, which includes $685.14 from APRA administrative cost and $3,325 APRA vaccine clinic held on January 16th, 2022.
Second.
Second by Edvin. Any discussion? Kate?
Aye.
Edvin?
Aye.
Matt?
Aye.
Charlie?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, can I get a motion to accept non-public and public meetings dated January 17, 2022?
So moved.
Any discussion? All in favor? Kate?
I'll second it.
Aye.
Edvin?
Aye.
Matt?
Aye.
Charlie?
Aye.
Aye. Motion to Selectmen's public hearing minutes dated January 17, 2022.
So moved.
Second.
Second by Charlie. Any discussion? Edvin?
Aye.
Kate?
Aye.
Matt?
Aye.
Charlie?
Aye.
I'm an aye. And review non-public session minutes for unsealing.
I don't have any.
Oh, is that part of the first one? I'm sorry. All right, so any announcements?
Deliberative sessions, February 5th,
That's this Saturday.
2022. Meet the candidates night, February 17th, 2022.
What time is the meeting Saturday?
9.
9 o'clock.
Yep.
It's not here. And what time is the candidates night?
6
6
p.m.
o'clock.
6 o'clock. Okay, town elections will be March 8th, 2022, from 8 to 8. Correct?
The board members have anything else?
Nope.
Okay, we'll close the meeting at 8:35.